very important at this particular time. Giving it enough time for members to debate and understand is the most important thing that we can do. And that is why I second. Thank you.
Oh, members, I therefore propose the question that this House resolves to exempt the business appearing as orders numbers 9 and 10 in today's order paper from the provisions of Standing Order 43, being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated for business not sponsored by the majority or minority party, or business sponsored by a committee. Order. Order, Honorable Baya. Take your seat. Honorable Ngogoyo, what do you want to say?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Such a motion, you can't say put the question, because yesterday we approved, we extended the timings for tomorrow and the day after. Now, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that it is the majority leader, you cannot belabor this House with business from the executive to ignore the business of members when Wednesday is meant for members' business. Looking at the order paper, there are several motions that have been there. Why should we exempt business that is we have already planned for the day of tomorrow, Thursday morning? We also have a session for Friday. So why do you want to ignore the business for today? And looking at, Chair, what is ahead of us, today we have the voting of several committees. Why do you want to bring such business when you are aware that we will be stepping out to do voting? So Mr. Speaker, I oppose this motion by the majority leader. It is not a priority. This is the day we are meant to discuss member. And I want to tell him the CDF uses today was a private member's bill. This is a very important and sacred moment for private issues of this House. You can do your business in the afternoon. And tomorrow we have approved that the business that is there, the majority leader table, we can go ahead with the business today. So, Mr. Speaker, I oppose the motion before the House. It should not see the light of the day, Mr. Speaker, because it is not even important. I don't understand the speed at which they have. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Dawood. The Honorable Baya, this is your motion. What's out of order?
No,
Honorable Dawood, let's hear what the Honorable Baya has to say. Yes.
Honorable Speaker, it is very sad.
Is it a point of order? No. Is it a point of order or you want to argue?
No. It's a point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Out of order?
You know, the order of business in this House and the standing orders that are provided, Honorable Speaker, put certain motions as important. Certain motions. That is what the standing order says. And they're given priority even in the standing order. So, Honorable Speaker, the budget policy statement is a very important motion that is recognized even by the standing orders. So for the likes of one person from wherever he comes from, this Honorable Ngogoyo, who has now acquired a lot of bad manners by belonging to Honorable Speaker, he needs to understand. He needs to understand, Honorable Speaker, that a budget policy statement is very, very important.
Take your seat. This is a motion, and we are debating it. So you cannot say that a member has bad manners because he has a view that is opposed to yours. The Honorable Dawood, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the majority leader should hold his horses because we support this procedural motion because of the time-bound budget, and I think Honorable Ngogoyo is just playing to the gallery for now. But we support this procedural motion because it's very important for this country and for the National Assembly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Rachel Nyamai, call by.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support this motion, Honorable Speaker. And I would like to say that in the budget making cycle, BPS, budget policy statement, is the most important. And this House, Honorable Speaker, guided by the House Business Committee, can drop anything just for the BPS process to go so that we can have the estimates. And I think it is very important for the Honorable Ngogoyo to learn. He's normally a very fast learner. He's good, actually. And I would like to tell him that just speak very quickly. The moment you hear anything about budget, say that you support it because it is what brought you here. these children from Riara who are seated here today, I'm sure they are very keen to know what is this procedural motion about. It is just the procedure that we would like to change so that we have BPS passing today. And I think, Ngogoyo, when you hear about budget, just say yes, because that is what brought you here. That is what will make you take goodies to the people who elected you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Sabina Chege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity, and I stand to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, I understand my friend Ngogoyo is still learning.
He's not Ngogoyo. He's the Honorable Ngogoyo.
That's why I've even started with my friend, so it's even deeper
He's
than
the
Honorable.
Honorable Ngogoyo.
Yes, so Honorable Ngogoyo
Correct.
is still learning, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes special occasions, special situations, and especially when we have reports or motions that have timelines, we may need to relook at the order. And so I would request, Mr. Speaker, that we support the request and the motion so that when we are able to deal with the report on budget policy, even what we are looking at, and I'm one of the affected persons because I had a special motion, we will still require support from the budget, and the budget policy is quite important. And looking at the order number 10 also, the amount of money that needs the additional allocation to the county government is also a very important motion.
Thank you.
So I support Mr. Speaker, and I urge the other honorable members to support. Thank you.
Lastly on this is Mokali Mulu. Last.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to say I support this motion. But even as we support, a few things must go on record, Honorable Speaker. If you look at the calendar of this House, it is only Wednesday morning when honorable members, individual members of this House, can have a bill go with their name for signature. And we have said many times, yesterday we did approve, Honorable Speaker, tomorrow morning, we approved Friday morning for government business. As House, Honorable Speaker, I still want to insist, Honorable Speaker, let the House Business Committee of this House allow Wednesday mornings to be for private members, motions or bills. Because it's the only time we have, Honorable Speaker.
Correct.
I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Baya, I'm sure you sit in the House Business Committee. Do you sit in the House Business Committee?
Yeah, once in a while I do.
So just take your seat, Honorable Baya. Just take your seat. Just take your seat. What the Honorable Makali is raising is very important. That every time the majority side borrows time for private members' bill, they should refund that time. That's the issue he's raising. And I hope that the leadership has listened to him, and that in future, we could also create time for private members' bill in government, in budgetary time, to accommodate them. That is his point. Oh, members, I want to put the question. And the question is that this House resolves to exempt the business appearing as orders number 9 and 10 in today's order paper for the provisions of Standing Order 43, being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated for business not sponsored by the majority or minority party, or business sponsored by a committee. Will, as one of the opinion, say aye? Aye. Will, as many opinion, say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion, report on the 2025 budget policy statement.
The chairperson, liaison committee.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 48, I beg to move the following motion in an amended form. That this House adopts the report of the liaison committee on the budget policy statement for the financial year 2025-2026 and a compendium of the departmental committee's reports on the 2025 budget policy statement laid on the table of this House on Tuesday, 11th March 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 25(7) of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A, and Standing Order 232, 9 and 10. A, approves the budget policy statement for the financial year 2025-2026. B, makes the following financial resolutions with respect to the budget policy statement. 1. The national government budget ceiling be approved at Kenya shillings 2,523,774,081,480, of which the executive gets Kenya shillings 2,436,081,480, and of which the Auditor General gets Kenya shillings 8,652,200,000, and Parliament gets Kenya shillings 49,488,200,000. 2, the judiciary gets Kenya shillings 26,749,800,000. And resolves that the allocation to the county government equitable share be approved at Kenya shillings 405,69,420,197. 3, resolves that, consistent with the latest audited and approved revenues for the financial year 2020-2021, amounting to Kenya shillings 1,570,562,147,014, the allocation to the equalization fund be set at Kenya shillings 7,852,814,725. And 4, approves that the arrears to the equalization fund be set at Kenya shillings 2,747,185,275. And 5, approves that the allocation for the county additional allocations be approved at Kenya shillings 69,802,409,623 as per the third schedule to the report, which shall form the basis for the county government additional allocations bill for the financial year 2025-2026. And 6, approves that the allocation for the public participation initiatives be approved at 3 billion. And resolves, as for continuing to resolve, resolves that the first and second schedules to the report form the basis for the ceilings for the financial year 2025-2026 budget estimates. D, resolves that once approved by the House, these recommendations shall form the basis for the 2025-2026 budget estimates. E, resolves that consistent with the resolution of the House on the 2025 medium-term debt strategy, the fiscal deficit is maintained at 4.3% of GDP. And F, orders that the first schedule to the order paper forms the basis for the ceilings for the financial year 2025-2026 budget estimates, and G, makes the policy resolutions contained in the second schedule to the order paper, that is the non-financial recommendations relating to the budget policy statement for the financial year 2025-2026, and H, makes the necessary adjustments to the schedules. Honorable Speaker, I would like to begin by expressing my gratitude to the members of the Liaison Committee for their efforts in reviewing the budget policy statements, and I particularly commend them for their dedication, the long hours, past midnight many times, and worked through to ensure that we were able to complete this work on time. Especially considering that this was the first time that the various chairpersons were evaluating policies at a universal level and not just at the individual departmental committees. Honorable Speaker, the budget-making process from a legislative perspective begins with a review of the budget policy statement, which outlines the key policies and expenditure ceilings based on the recommendations from the sector working groups and the Cabinet. Honorable Speaker, in accordance to the Public Finance Management Act and the National Assembly Standing Orders, the Budget and Appropriations Committee usually examines the budget policy statement. But in 2025, it was tabled on the 13th of February and referred to the Liaison Committee on the February the 18th. Honorable Speaker, the Liaison Committee, while finalizing this report, conducted an inclusive process, consulting the departmental committees, the Office of the Auditor General, the Commission on Revenue Allocation, the Parliamentary Service Commission, and the National Treasury to gather insights and discuss budget priorities. This collaborative effort ensured that the recommendations in the report are well-informed, inclusive, and aligned, and also aligned with national priorities. Honorable Speaker, upholding Article 201 of the Constitution, which mandates public participation in the budget-making process, the committee invited the public to submit memoranda, receiving 42 submissions that were carefully reviewed and the views captured in this report. Honorable Speaker, this is the third budget policy statement under the Kenya Kwanza government, aligning with the fourth medium-term plan, which prioritizes a bottom-up economic transformation approach to ensure equitable growth. Honorable Speaker, the budget policy statement focuses on key social economic goals, such as making essential goods affordable, enhancing food security, creating employment, and expanding the tax base, and therefore strengthening our foreign exchange reserves and promoting inclusive growth. Honorable Speaker, the 2025 budget policy statement sets expenditure ceilings for the national government, including Parliament and the judiciary, and outlines indicative county transfers for the financial year 2025-2026 and the medium term. Honorable Speaker, once the budget policy statement report is approved, these ceilings will guide the national budget, the Division of Revenue Bill 2020, and the 2025 County Fiscal Strategy Papers in alignment with national priorities. Honorable Speaker, going into the specifics of the budget policy document, the total projected expenditure for the financial year 2025-2026 is 4,263 billion. That is 22.1% of GDP, and is allocated as follows. Kenya shillings 1.730 billion for recurrent expenditure. Kenya shillings 758 billion for development. And 3, Kenya shillings 1.369.2 billion for the consolidated fund services. And 4, Kenya shillings 405 billion for county equitable share. Honorable Speaker, it is important to highlight that the sectoral budget ceilings for the financial year 2025-2026 allocate 1, Kenya shillings 723.9 billion to education, which is 28.3%. And 2, Kenya shillings 504.6 billion to energy, which is 19.7%. And 3, Kenya shillings 286.7 billion to public administration, which is 11.2%. 4, Kenya shillings 265.8 billion to governance, which is 10.4%. And 5, Kenya shillings 257 billion to national security, which is 10%. And 6, Kenya shillings 204.5 billion to health, which is 8%. And 7, Kenya shillings 103.7 billion to water and natural resources, which makes up 4.1%. And 7, Kenya shillings 78.8 billion to social protection, culture, and recreation, which is 3.1%. And 9, that was 8 actually, so now we go to 9. And 9, Kenya shillings 77.6 billion to agriculture and urban development, which is 3%. And 10, Kenya shillings 59.1 billion to general economic and commercial affairs,